In the vastness of the Old West, a new kind of renegade emerged. Among tales of ruthless gunslingers and outlaws, a few women stood out, leaving their indelible marks on the chronicles of the time. These extraordinary women, known as the most infamous renegades of the Old West, broke free from the established social norms, forging legends through daring heists and bold escapes that still echo through the valleys of history. In today's video, we're diving into the stories of 10 of these legendary outlaw women. Pearl Hart. Pearl Hart rose to fame as the notorious bandit queen of Arizona, earning her place in history with her impressive skill in stagecoach robberies. In May 1899, driven by the need to care for her young son, she teamed up with her accomplice Joe Boot to pull off a daring heist. They targeted the route between Globe and Florence for their operation. Disguised as a man, Pearl executed the plan with remarkable efficiency, managing to steal $418. Despite her criminal act, she showed a glimmer of compassion, leaving $1 with each passenger to ensure they could buy food once they reached town. However, Pearl and Joe's luck quickly ran out. Captured by the law, Joe Boot was sentenced to 30 years in prison, while Pearl received a 7-year sentence for stealing the stagecoach driver's gun. Her time behind bars was marked by a brief escape, aided by sympathetic guards, though she was soon recaptured. During her imprisonment, Pearl became pregnant, which ultimately led to her pardon by the governor of Arizona in 1902. After her release, the details of Pearl's life grew murky. Some accounts suggest she performed on stage, while others describe her settling down for a quiet life with farmer Calvin Bywater. Eleanor Dumont. Eleanor Dumont, famous for her mesmerizing skills as a blackjack dealer, made her mark in 1850s San Francisco with her talent at the card table. Originally from New Orleans, she arrived in California at just 21 years old and quickly became a respected and well-known figure in gambling circles. Her skill eventually landed her at the Bella Union Saloon, but after being unfairly accused of cheating, she left in search of new opportunities, settling in Nevada City. There, she not only dazzled minors with her card-playing expertise, but also charmed them with her undeniable charisma. Dumont's life took a tragic turn in Carson City, where she became entangled with Jack McKnight, a scoundrel who cruelly betrayed her by selling her property and disappearing with the money. Devastated and betrayed, Dumont took matters into her own hands and ended McKnight's life. After this incident, her once brilliant reputation and luck at the tables began to fade. Nicknamed Madame Mustache due to a faint mustache on her upper lip, Eleanor's life spiraled downward. By 1879, overwhelmed by a series of misfortunes, she met a tragic end, mixing wine with morphine in an act of despair. Dumont's story is a bittersweet tale of dazzling success, heartbreaking betrayal, and a somber conclusion. Lillian Frances Smith. A young sharpshooter with impeccable aim and a natural talent for defying expectations, made a name for herself as a prodigy with a rifle. But her story is about more than just hitting targets. It's about breaking barriers and making an impact in an era steeped in tradition. At just 14 years old, she joined Buffalo Bill's famous Wild West show, taking on the bold persona of Winona, a Native American princess who embodied both daring and courage. Unlike the reserved and already famous Annie Oakley, her greatest rival, Lillian rejected the era's expectations of women, adopting a bold, defiant attitude that shattered stereotypes. The tension between her and Oakley likely played a role in Lillian's departure from the show, but that didn't slow her down. She continued touring the country, building a career full of twists and turns. When she passed away in 1930, she was buried wearing Sioux attire, a final symbolic act reflecting the complexity of her life and legacy. Rose Dunn. The young Rose Dunn, known as the Rose of Cimarron, came from a family with a shady reputation and found herself drawn into the world of crime after meeting the infamous Dalton gang through her brothers. Captivated by the charismatic George Bitter Creek Newcomb, one of the gang's outlaws, Rose fell hopelessly in love. Recognizing her beauty and bravery, Newcomb gave her the nickname that would cement her legend. On a fateful day in 1893, during a chaotic shootout in Oklahoma, Rose made a bold choice. She dashed through a hail of bullets to deliver a rifle to Newcomb, an act of loyalty and courage that secured her place as an icon of daring devotion. However, Rose's story took a dramatic turn just 2 years later when her own brothers betrayed Newcomb, turning him over to the authorities. He was captured and ultimately killed, bringing their story to a tragic end. Rose Dunn's life took an unexpected turn. Once caught up in the chaos of an outlaw's world, she found a fresh start alongside a prominent Oklahoma politician. Marriage transformed her life, leaving behind a past filled with crime and turmoil. Her new chapter was marked by peace and normalcy, where love and loyalty replaced the adrenaline and danger of her earlier days. Her story serves as a vivid reminder of the drastic changes life can bring, highlighting how surroundings and human connections can reshape paths once entangled in the lawless spirit of the Old West. Kate Horany, better known as Miss Doc Holliday, lived a remarkable life that showcased her strength and independence, far beyond just being the companion of Doc Holliday, the infamous dentist and gunslinger. Born in Hungary around 1850, Kate's life took a drastic turn when Emperor Maximilian, for whom her father worked as a personal surgeon, was overthrown. This upheaval forced her family to emigrate to Iowa in the United States. Life in the U.S. wasn't any easier for Kate. After losing her parents, she faced even more heartbreak when her husband and son succumbed to yellow fever. Alone and searching for a fresh start, Kate moved to Dodge City, a rough and wild frontier town where only the toughest survived. It was there in 1875 that she crossed paths with Wyatt Earp, a meeting that not only marked a new chapter in her life, but also introduced her to Doc Holliday, with whom she would share a long and infamous relationship. Kate Horany and Doc Holliday's relationship grew into a deep, passionate bond, defined by Kate's fierce loyalty. Her dedication was put to the test when Holliday found himself in serious trouble, jailed after a violent argument during a card game. Without hesitation, Kate devised a daring plan to save him. She set a shed on fire to create a distraction and boldly confronted the situation. With unwavering courage, she threatened the jailer and demanded Holliday's release, an audacious move that, against all odds, secured his freedom. The couple later moved to Tombstone, which would become the setting of the legendary gunfight at the OK Corral. However, at a crucial moment, Holliday, worried for Kate's safety, persuaded her to leave the town. While this decision protected Kate, it also marked the beginning of the end for their intense relationship. Their story, filled with moments of profound devotion and bold acts of bravery, stands as a captivating chapter in the tumultuous days of the Old West. After a life full of adventures and challenges, Mary Catherine Horany finally found peace at the Arizona Pioneer Home, where she spent her final days in tranquility. Living to the age of 89, Mary defied all expectations, given the tumultuous events of her younger years. Her longevity stands as a testament to her remarkable resilience and the indomitable spirit that carried her through an extraordinary and unconventional life. Etta Place. Etta Place, known as the Queen of Outlaws, became a legendary figure alongside infamous criminals like the Sundance Kid and Butch Cassidy at the dawn of the 20th century. Her story began in striking fashion at a San Antonio brothel, establishing her as a mysterious and enigmatic character from the very start. Over time, the details of her life faded into obscurity, leaving behind only fragmented rumors and speculation. Intriguingly, some historians suggest she might have been the same person as Ann Bassett, another notorious figure of the Old West, adding yet another layer to the mystery surrounding her. Etta Place's story is woven with daring and mystery. At the height of Longabaugh and Parker's heists, she became a key player, taking charge of the horses used for their quick getaways. More than just an accomplice, Etta demonstrated sharp wit and courage, outsmarting pursuers and single-handedly guarding the gang's earnings with a bravery that mirrored the grit of the Old West. Rumors still tell of how she, alone but resilient, safeguarded the outlaws' takings against all odds. In a spur-of-the-moment decision, Etta Place and her infamous companions fled to Argentina. There, she played an active role in a daring bank robbery, bringing the thrill of their Old West escapades to foreign soil. The story takes a dramatic turn as it unfolds beyond the borders of the United States. According to legend, Longabaugh and Parker met their tragic end when the Bolivian cavalry caught up with them. As for Etta, the question lingers. Did she share their fate in that fateful standoff? Or did she manage to carve out a new life on the wide prairies of the American West, far from the echoes of her outlaw past? Pearl Devere. Pearl Devere was a one-of-a-kind figure in the Old West. Born in Chicago and raised in Indiana, she headed west in the late 1870s, looking to make her fortune by offering companionship to the many lonely men of the time. In Denver, she adopted the identity of Mrs. Isabel Martin, a clever move that brought her financial success, until the economic crisis caused by the silver crash in 1893 forced her to pivot. Pearl relocated to Cripple Creek, a booming town during the gold rush, where she opened a brothel in the bustling red light district. She quickly turned it into a thriving enterprise, standing out for her knack for attracting high-end clientele and for her genuine care for the women who worked for her. Pearl ensured their safety and well-being, making her establishment one of the most respected of its kind. Pearl Devere always aimed to maintain a respectable appearance. Even back in Indiana, her family had no idea of her true occupation as a madam, believing instead that she worked as a seamstress. In 1895, she tried to solidify her image by marrying industrialist C.B. Flynn. However, her attempt to build a respectable life unraveled when a catastrophic fire destroyed both the brothel she managed and Flynn's factory, effectively ending their marriage. Flynn left for Mexico, but Pearl stayed in Cripple Creek, undeterred by the setback. She quickly bounced back, opening another entertainment venue, the Old Homestead. Despite facing numerous challenges, Pearl continued to prioritize the well-being of the women who worked for her. By June 1897, she was known for hosting lavish and extravagant parties, further cementing the reputation of her new establishment as one of the finest in the area. After a night of dazzling celebration, Pearl Devere struggled with relentless insomnia. Seeking relief, she turned to laudanum, a popular painkiller of the time. But by morning, tragedy struck. Pearl was found dead in her room, bringing her vibrant life and a significant chapter in Cripple Creek's history to a sudden and heartbreaking end. Laura Bullion, daughter of outlaw Henry Bullion, dove into the world of crime at an early age, just 13 years old, when she teamed up with Ben Kilpatrick, known as the Tall Texan, and William Carver, two prominent members of Butch Cassidy and Sundance's infamous gang. Known among her peers as the Rose of the Wild Bunch, Laura wasn't limited to petty theft. She played a direct role in major operations, including forging signatures to assist in the gang's many successful robberies. One of her boldest acts was the Great Northern Train robbery in July 1901, where they managed to steal an impressive $60,000. However, Laura's luck ran out shortly after this heist when authorities caught her with $8,500 in counterfeit bills. Convicted, Laura Bullion spent 2.5 years in prison, serving her time for her involvement in these crimes. Laura Bullion passed away on December 2, 1961, from natural causes. After serving her sentence, she left the criminal world behind and spent the rest of her life living quietly, with her final years in Memphis, Tennessee. Sally Skull. Sally Skull is a legendary figure of the American Wild West, with a real-life story as dramatic as any Western fiction. Born Sally Newman in 1817 in Illinois, she was thrust into the harsh realities of frontier life as a child when her family set out west seeking new opportunities. By the age of 6, Sally was already immersed in an environment where survival often came down to quick thinking and tough decisions. One of the most striking moments of her early life happened when a stranger attempted to break into her family's modest cabin. In a fierce act of defense, her mother, with unwavering determination, protected the family by cutting off the man's fingers as he tried to enter. This incident not only taught young Sally about the dangers of frontier life, but also shaped her into a resilient and fearless woman, qualities that would define her for the rest of her life. As Sally grew older, so did her courage and assertiveness. One iconic example of her bravery occurred when she confronted a reluctant neighbor in the face of an external threat. Boldly, Sally demanded that he hand over his weapon, declaring that if he wasn't willing to face the danger, she would take care of it herself. This fearless attitude became a hallmark of her personality and had a lasting impact on the course of her life. In 1833, Sally's life took a dramatic and dark turn when she married Jesse Robinson, a man she admired for his courage in local conflicts with Native American tribes. Though Robinson stood out for his heroism, he was an exception in Sally's otherwise tumultuous love life. After 10 years, their marriage ended, and Robinson became the first in a string of husbands whose fates seemed cursed alongside Sally. The years that followed were dark and mysterious, with Sally becoming involved with George Scull, John Doyle, and Isaiah Watkins, all of whom died under strange and premature circumstances. These deaths, involving men she shared her life with, left her community puzzled and raised suspicions about Sally's potential role in these tragic events. Sally Scull became a legendary and feared figure in Old West folklore, known as the woman who outlived many husbands, each meeting an unexpected end. Around campfires and in frontier homes, her name was used to instill fear and obedience in children. Parents would warn, "Behave or Sally Scull will come for you," turning her into a sort of boogeyman in the popular imagination. Over time, the mystery surrounding Sally only deepened, especially as rumors of her death began to spread. According to legend, her final husband, blinded by greed over her fortune, betrayed her in a brutal act of murder. And so Sally's tumultuous life came to an end as dramatic as the stories that surrounded her, cementing her legacy as an enigmatic shadow in the history of the American frontier. Sadie Marcus. Sadie Marcus is a name that echoes through the history of the Wild West, full of rebellion and passion. From a young age, Sadie followed the call of her adventurous spirit, making bold choices that shaped her life. At just 17, she left the comfort and security of her home to join a traveling theater troupe. Captivated by the excitement of the stage, she embraced the life of an actress with the kind of enthusiasm only someone determined to live every moment to the fullest could muster. Sadie Marcus's life took an unexpected turn when she once again ignored her parents' warnings. Driven by love, she traveled to the dusty town of Tombstone, Arizona, a place filled with gunfights and secrets carried on the wind. There, her heart was drawn to Johnny Bean, a charming man with a reputation for being unreliable in love. But it was her fiery passion that kept her going. In Tombstone, fate had something life-changing in store for her. It was there that she met Wyatt Earp, a man whose reputation for fearlessness was as vast as the lands he roamed. Against all societal expectations, love blossomed between them, defying conventions and creating a timeless legacy in the Wild West. For Wyatt, already captivated by Sadie's charm, she became not just a lover, but a lifelong partner. Sadie wasn't just a bystander to the events around her. She was a central and unforgettable figure. She brought together the radiant energy of Dolly Parton and the seductive charm of Penelope Cruz. In the adventurous life of Wyatt Earp, who was always chasing new horizons, Sadie stood out as a pillar of strength and stability. Their relationship was more than enduring. It withstood the trials of a tumultuous era, lasting until Wyatt's final days in 1929. As we dive into her story, Sadie Marcus emerges not only as Wyatt's loyal companion, but as a true force of nature. She boldly defied the societal norms of her time with both audacity and grace, intertwining her life inextricably with Wyatt's. Her story is a vibrant chronicle of true love, one that endures challenges, overcomes hardships, and leaves an eternal mark on the golden pages of Wild West history. Until next time,